Okay, so in today's video lab session, we're going to go over core stability first. So if you really wanted to work on like that anterior sling and the anterior portion, working on like anti extension for core stability, you can start off with a beginner's exercise like a dead bug, where you can start off with moving one arm at a time, arm, leg, so one extremity at a time, and then sync it up. You could do diagonals. You could even do the same side. Like easier said than done. Yep, like that. You can progress that to some static holds in prone, where this would be more so like against gravity. So you could do planks for static holds. You could even progress that, and I don't really have the space, but you could do kneeling, either stability ball rollouts, or if you have an ab roller, or even like a barbell with two round plates, you can roll that out and bring that back, and that's all for core stability and the anterior sling. Okay, so now we can talk about hip extension. So we were going over pals and rals. So depending on the position you want to put them in, let's just say you wanted to do hip extension, you could bring them to their end range, and ideally this would be lower so that this front leg doesn't have to be as extended. What you can do from here is so we can do our pal, which is at end range, and just squeeze, so I'm in full hip extension. And then to make it easier to do kind of like hovers, we can back it up a little bit, and now you can see I can actually get my knee off, hold, so we're backing off 10 to 15. We can hover by going back and forth, so putting, I have little snowmen here, so I can think about bringing my knee up and over the snowman like this. And again, you do want to work on your posture. I wouldn't say this is really too much of a balance drill, so I would even permit them holding on to something. And then you could even do like dynamic hovers, where you're here and you're just hovering around, really getting that glute musculature and all that. Okay, so in terms of the hip, besides extension, we also did internal and external rotation. So one position we did it in was the 90-90 position. For these purposes, I'll do both parts of the 90-90 and standing. So I'll do the external rotation piece here, like this. And as you can see, I don't really have a lot of external rotation to begin with. So this pretty much would be my end range. So what I would be thinking about is really lifting my whole shin and foot up for more external rotation. Then what I can do is I can back off. So I'm backing off the abduction external rotation part. And now when I do my lift offs, I can lift. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm right here, lift, here, lift, and then I could do hovers up and down and up and down, and finally circles. Next, what I could do is, so in terms of the eccentric portion, I can really focus on pushing into the floor and slowly lower myself down. So pushing my shin and everything to the best of my abilities into the bed, and slowly kind of, like crushing the grape in between in your hips, and slowly hinging over. The internal rotation, I can do it in this position. So I'm already internally rotated, and this is pretty much my end range here. I'll turn a little bit more this way. Good. So I can think about lifting up. Then if I wanted to do my lift offs, I can just turn away, back off a little bit, hold on, and now I can actually really lift off, making sure that my whole body's not tilting. I could hover, and then I could do my circles. And this is the same kind of concept. So I'm pushing into the bed for my eccentrics and slowly lowering over it. Pushing into the bed and slowly lowering over it. So that does the internal and external rotation piece. Okay, so for knee flexion and extension, you can do this standing or seated. So for extension, we're going to be right here, and what we're really thinking about is trying to pick that foot up. And this is for our end range. Good. Now if we wanted to do kind of like lift offs, we could back it off. So I can, this is good because you can really see the knee bending. And now this is tough because it's in like a 90-90 position. So if that's the scenario and you want to take it out, you can have the position lay supine and then just kind of bend their knee and then lift up. So now it's taking the two joint muscles kind of out of it. And then you can kind of build up more and more to 90. If you wanted to do hip knee flexion, I happen to have a bed here that lets me maximally bend it. So the more you lean back, the more knee flexion you're going to get. So if I'm right here, I'm at my max, I'm thinking about really lifting it off, but I can't because I'm at end range. Once I do my lift offs, I back off about 10 to 15 degrees. Again, you would have some kind of balance component here. And then now I can just kind of hover. So again, I have the little snowman, and then I could, I could do my hovers and my circles in the same position, in that knee flexed position. Okay, the last thing that we're going to talk about is the Turkish get-up, which we did in stages. The first stage that we started with, and I'll use a book for demonstration, is in the side lying position, arms out. Okay, so then what we're going to do is swing through. So then kind of like a log roll, swing through, and this is much harder on a mattress. Swing through. Okay, now that we're here, what we can do is we can drop same-sided leg, keep that arm up, and we can post this other arm kind of at 45 degrees. And now what we're doing is we're working on getting onto our forearm and up. Forearm and down. Forearm. Okay, now that we're on our forearm, we can really work on getting to our hand and up. So hand and up. Trying to stay straight, shoulder blades down and back to the best of our abilities. Good. Now once we're on our hand, all right, now we can work. It's kind of hard to see my knees just because of the angle, but I'm trying to keep my knees straight as possible. We post up and down. Post up and down. So we're kind of glute bridging up, hip hinging up. Once we're there, we hip hinge up. Now we can bring our knee through like this. So I'm in a turn position here, and I'm just going to readjust myself so I'm facing the camera. So I'm here, and the way that we learned it is we can either be here, where we're in this slightly externally rotated position, and we bring our foot over to match, or we bring our back knee. And now we're up here, and we're windshielding down and up. And then last but not least is the standing portion where we come up, bring it back down, and just reverse your steps. And that's the Turkish get-up.